Hello, this is Michael Silva. In this episode, we are going to talk about some of the challenges of selling security consulting services. One big problem when selling independent security consulting services is that the profession is relatively unknown. Many potential clients are completely unaware of what an independent security consultant does or what services that they provide. Clients who have security problems have traditionally relied upon guard companies, alarm companies, locksmiths, and private investigators to provide them with security advice. Many of these clients would never even think of calling in an independent security consultant. While there is much better awareness of independent security consultants than when I started in 1985, this still remains a problem. Because of this, the first challenge in selling security consulting services is to sell a client on the concept of using an independent security consultant in the first place. To sell this concept, you must convince the client of the benefits of using an independent professional instead of one of the traditional providers of security products and services. Only after the consultant has sold the concept can they go about selling themselves. The second challenge in selling independent security consulting services is that most security consulting projects are event-driven. Something has to happen in order to motivate the client to initiate the project. For example, most clients don't think to have a security assessment done until after a major incident has occurred. In the case of a security management consultant, this could be triggered by a recent burglary or robbery. In the case of a cybersecurity consultant, this could be triggered by a breach of the client's computer system that resulted in the theft of sensitive data. Along the same lines, the technical security consultant is most often called in when a client is building a new building or replacing their existing security systems. And the forensic security consultant is usually only called in when an attorney has a case that demands an expert in the area of security. The underlying fact in all of these examples is that the client must have an immediate need in order for the consultant's services to be relevant. It is unlikely that any amount of selling would be effective if the client didn't have an immediate need. To be sure, there are exceptions. Some well-managed companies may choose to have security assessments or security training done proactively, but in the vast majority of cases, the client will have to have an immediate problem to prompt them to call in a consultant. In order to effectively sell security consulting services, you need to have the ability to connect with clients that have an immediate need. Since it is highly unlikely that any client that you call will have an immediate need on the day that you call them, the challenge is to get them to remember you so that when they do have a need for your services, they will give you a call. So in summary, the two major challenges in selling independent security consulting services are: number one, you need to sell a concept of using an independent security consultant before you can sell yourself. And number two, your prospective clients are unlikely to need you when you first contact them. You must get them to remember you when the need arises, perhaps months or even years later. The good news is that both of these challenges can be largely overcome through an aggressive sales and marketing campaign that uses the various techniques described in other episodes in this series.